Thank you and welcome to yet another episode of In Conversation. My name is Bongani Mncube, and today we are going to be speaking to Prof Bettine, who is the successor of Prof Kinterberger, the Registrar of the University of Johannesburg. Prof, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
And may I just congratulate you guys on UJTV. It's such a fantastic venture, and the whole UJ is so excited about it. So well done to you.
True. We are also very delighted to be here. It's a good platform, and we get to engage with you guys, of course. It's an absolute honor and pleasure for us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Prof. So you took over the position of being a registrar as of the 1st of April. How has that been for you?
Do you think the 1st of April as April's Fool's Day has any implication here? No, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of discussions around transition and a lot of transition happening at the same time at the university. And I think it's because our foundation and the university's foundation is so solid that, all of these transitions were very smooth. I must give credit and just a shout out to Prof Kinterberger,
yes.
as you said. I was the designate, sort of the incumbent in the position for some months that I worked with her, and she's been absolutely fantastic. So it's been very smooth, very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she did, we once had an interview with her, and she did hint out that you guys had been working together at that time, and the management had just changed, so there's lots of transition within the institution. And how are you settling into that position in terms of what are the roles and responsibilities that you are assuming at this point?
Okay. So Prof Kinterberger stepped down at the end of March. So from the 1st of April, I'm sort of, in the position, taking full responsibility for all the various roles and activities within the registrar's portfolio. Yes. The registrar's portfolio across all universities, but at the University of Johannesburg as well, is quite a diverse portfolio. It's a very nice portfolio in that I think there are very few other portfolios or divisions that's got a full oversight of the whole university, from applications to graduation, all the domains, very close linkages with the different faculties, all the support divisions. So it's quite a diverse portfolio,
yes.
But it's also nice because, you've really got a bird's eye view of the whole university, and that's really fantastic.
Yes, and that brings me into also getting to know you a little bit more. You hold a PhD in zoology, and you also became the director for the Center for Ecological Genomics and Wildlife Conservation. Can you tell us a little bit about the passion for conservation that you have?
Yeah. So my background is in zoology. I've got a PhD in zoology. Since I was very small, I've always loved animals, been interested in animals. So it really has been a wonderful career. When you look at the news now, the wildfires in Hawaii, the fires in Canada, the heat waves across Europe, it's very clear that, and there's so much scientific evidence that shows that climate change is real, and every year is a record year. The heat wave in Europe now, if I'm not mistaken, in Italy it was something like 48 degrees the one day. So conservation has always been important.
Yes.
But conservation currently is absolutely critical. We're losing so many species. We're losing species
yes.
that we didn't even know existed. So the conservation, I think, efforts globally at the moment is critically important.
Yes.
And it's not just, it's animals and plants, but it's also affecting humans, as
exactly.
we now see,
Yes.
So from a holistic perspective, I think conservation efforts in the broad sense is really important. It's a pity that there are so many people that deny climate change, because it just prevents countries from actually putting effort to mitigate some of the impact. Yeah.
True. And still sticking to your passions, with the role that you are in position right now, which is the registrar at the institution, what are some of the qualities that you think an individual needs, especially given that you're from a zoology background? So taking that experience and now being at this position, what are the links to the qualities maybe that you have in relation to this position?
Yeah. You know, in many institutions, the management, or let's say the support divisions, are really support divisions. The academic divisions are really academic divisions. Yes. At UJ, that is not the case, where, you know, a lot of people that are in support divisions, or, you know, I'm talking broad, you know, in any of the support divisions, including the MEC, actually have an academic background. And you know what, for me, what has helped is the fact that when I came, you know, when I was an academic, you manage large projects, you work with students. So for me specifically, you know, lots of lecturing, lots of postgraduate student training, also big grant applications, managing big projects. So all of that gives you, when you step into the role of registrar, for me, it provides, you know, I come with that experience. How do you manage a big project? I understand students. I love my students, you know, my zoology students, both here and at previous universities. I have a passion for students, I think. And at UJ especially, our students are absolutely wonderful. So the fact that I understand and that I've firsthand worked with those students, and I understand the various issues that they face every day, and, you know, the problems that they have to deal with. It just brings that perspective into this portfolio, and I think for me that's been, you know, that's really helped a lot.
Yes, and that's so true indeed. Understanding students is also the central point at this position. So given that the University of Joburg has a diverse student body, how do you ensure that administrative processes are inclusive and accessible to all?
Yeah. Our criteria when we deal with students is, first of all, fairness and exactly the same rules for exactly the same, you know, for everybody. So in terms of that, we are absolutely fair in how we make decisions. There's not one set of rules for, you know, one group of students or one faculty or whatever. Everybody is over exactly the same comb, exactly the same bar for everybody. So from that perspective, you know, it is inclusive. It is exactly the same rules for everybody else. There are various ways in which the university also supports. You know, every student has got his or her or their own challenges. And so there are various ways in which the university actually supports students to become the best that they can possibly be. But I think overall it really is a question of absolute fairness. Everybody's treated the same, everybody's given the same opportunity, and everybody, the support mechanisms that are in place is there for everybody that needs it.
Awesome, true. And there is an ongoing debate on the future for higher education, which, what do you see as the biggest challenge and opportunities for the Registrar's Office at the University of Johannesburg in the coming years? What do you foresee being the opportunities and challenges?
It's a pity that there are so much uncertainty and waves in the higher education sector at the moment. There's so many universities and universities of technology that are under administration, that are or that are struggling. I mean, I do feel that weight on my shoulders very much. I have to, you know, be honest with you in that. Because a lot of the issues at universities start with breakdown in governance. It starts with breakdown in governance, with council, with MEC, with divisions across the university. So in that respect, the domain or the portfolio of the registrar really is the custodian of good governance. So from that perspective, you know, when the registrar fails, that's a massive risk for the university. So I do feel that weight on my shoulders, and I think the opportunity is that the University of Johannesburg, the governance structures that are in place are very good, are very solid. So it's not person dependent. It's our systems. It's our processes, and there is opportunity not just to make the most of what's in place, but to actually grow it and to strengthen it even more than what it is currently.
True. With that being said, Prof, of course the undergraduate applications are soon to close on the 31st of October. What advice would you give to applying students?
Okay, there's a few things to say. The University of Johannesburg receive a huge amount of applications. The first thing to say is, remember, you have to apply on time. When our applications close on the 31st of October, as you said, it's closed. So please don't wait for the last day. Don't, just do it now. Go and sit down and put in your application. The second thing to say is, don't just guarantee on your first choice. You can submit 2 choices for the various streams. So make sure that you make the most of that and put in your second choice as well. At the University of Johannesburg, if you go to our admissions site, there are various ways there and redirections to other websites that can actually help you. So let's say you're not sure what you want to do. I mean, it's very difficult when you think about it, when you know, in high school, to know exactly what do you want to do for the rest of your life, right? It's not in, very few people know exactly where they're going. This is where I'm going to be when when I'm 50 or 40 or whatever. We've got aptitude tests and we redirect. So if people go there, just go and work through it. There's a lot of information there. We redirect to a site, Go Study, which will also help you a little bit in terms of making choices. So do a little bit of homework before. Don't miss the 31st of October as the deadline. When we close, we close. Yes,
and also they should improve on their grades if maybe they need to.
Oh, we take absolutely. Ongani, if you'll allow me just to say a word or two about that. Last year we received close on 700,000. Well, about 400,000 people submitted 700,000 applications. And if you then think about it within the higher education sector, each of the universities have an enrollment plan that is approved by the Minister of Higher Education. For the University of Johannesburg, that plan that we sign a contract with DHET says that we can take approximately 10,500 new students. So imagine 400,000 people, 700,000 choices for 10,500 spaces. You know, the one thing also to say there is, when you look at the minimum admission requirements for, all of our qualifications and courses have minimum minimum requirements in terms of our APS scores and so. When you think about the number of people that apply, remember when we then start with our admissions, we start from the top down. So even though the admission requirement for a specific qualification X, whatever that might be 28, an APS score of 28. The likelihood, and we see it in our data, the cutoff where the programs are full are quite often 34 or 30, an APS of 35. So, for everybody out there, make sure that you do the best that you possibly can to, just increase your chances of actually getting in. The last sentence that I will say is that when in January we start with our admissions, when you get a letter that says you've been admitted, provisionally admitted into a specific qualification, don't wait, don't take a week or so before you actually make use of our offer and register. So when you get that letter, register very quickly because the spaces fill up very quickly.
True. And on that, Prof, for some students, what measures do we have in place to assist those students that may not have the funds at the time when they're accepted to register within the given time?
Yeah, exactly. So we do require that people pay their registration fees before they're actually allowed to register. What we do is, where our students apply from quintile 1, 2 and 3 schools, and they submit proof that we know that they've applied to NSFAS also for funding, we actually open up we open up so that they can register very quickly. So we do look at that. We've got the SRC Trust Fund internally. That's 20 or so million rand that actually assists students. It varies from year to year, but we do put a lot of funds towards supporting students with their registrations. Where we know that you've applied for NSFAS and you do come from those quintile schools, we do open it up so that you can register. Just make use of these. Reach out to us. Also, reach out to the various student divisions and so on, admissions and so that we can assist you to register. Where students come back for continuing students, quite often students also have debt. outstanding debt for universities across the higher education sector are massive. You know, it's in the billions that are owed. So we are strict around that, but we have sort of ways in place to actually assist students. So reach out to student finance if you then sign your admission of debt, your AOD, you know, and work out ways in which to repay those debt. You know, an agreement with them. We do allow you to register. So the bottom line is don't just disappear, or, you know, just reach out to us so that we can assist you to actually register. It's in the university's best interest also to help students get through, because, you know, when you qualify and you walk away with a degree or a qualification from the university, you've got to, you know, your chances of getting employment, and if you are employed, you can repay your debt. So we don't want to keep students back, but we do want to know about you, and you know, we just ask that we enter into an agreement so that we can help you to register.
True, and it is in both the student and the university's interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to get the degree.
Absolutely. That you can actually say that again, because that is very, very true. Yeah.
So also there's this concern of the appeals, the F20s. What also, how are you assisting students in terms of that? Because I remember in the conversation with Prof Kinta, she also says that the main dream, as we're speaking now, that we wish to educate the students so that they pass and they go into the workspaces and make a difference within the society. Yes,
absolutely. So you're asking about basically the academic exclusion appeals and
yes.
so on.
How are you dealing with that?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing to say is that it is a harsh reality. You know, if you are admitted, remember I said all of these students that are queuing for a space at the university. So when we admit you, and you are stuck, you know, you are stuck in a specific qualification, you are not progressing, you're failing a lot of your modules. Remember that you're keeping another person in the queue from actually entering the university. And if you do that 1 year, you know, you're essentially blocking, you know, a number of students. In the second year, that number blocks. In the third year, that number triples. So you are keeping a lot of students out that could actually come into the university. So we are quite strict around that. What we do normally is that, you know, where students struggle, please reach out to the heads of faculty administration. There are, you know, there's tutor systems in place, senior tutor systems in place. Make the most of that so that you know, the first prize is not to get to that point. When you receive a warning letter, you know, it's because we care that we are warning you. It's not because, you know, it's for no reason other that we really care. So make the most of the support systems in place. When you are then receive the, you know, the dreaded F7 or the academic exclusion, there is an appeal process that's open, and you can then appeal, you know, bring your reasons why you didn't do well. Then, you know, and say, so it doesn't help to say, I'm going to just use a very random example. I really struggled because I live very far from the university, so my travel time takes away from, you know, or prevents me from attending class. This is just you know, an example, but it's a real life example. Then it doesn't help to say, oh, I'll try and I'll do better. Because what has changed? Nothing has changed. So, you know, what then really helps is if students can come and say, but I understand why I'm not doing well, and this is how I'm going to change that. I've, you know, looked for a place and I'm staying closer to campus and I'm going to attend my classes now, or I've, you know, consulted with PsyCAT, they are assisting me, or, you know, I'm now making use of the tutor program or whatever it is. So within each faculty, the F7, the appeal process is very fair. The important thing to say also, and this is a shout out to our Student Representative Council, our SRC, they also sit in on the F7 appeal process, you know, so they're there and making sure that it's a fair process and that the faculties are actually fair in how they treat the students. So, you know, it's not the stuff happens, and if you get a warning or if you get an academic exclusion, it's not the end of the world, but make sure, just reflect a little bit, why are you here? How do you fix this? Tell us how you will fix it, and then let's see how we move forward from there.
Interesting. Well, it is a fair process, to be quite honest, because you state your case and also give rectifications as to how you can make the situation better, how can you also be assisted to excel in your academics, which is really true.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't change anything, you know, I couldn't come to work today because I had no petrol in my car. Okay, fine.
What are we gonna
If you
do
don't put petrol in your car, tomorrow you are in the same place.
Yes.
So tell us how you are sorting your problems. You know, we want to see you make a success.
Yes.
So just, you know, help us understand how you, from your side also, you're going to fix this.
Yes.
And then, yeah, let's move forward. We've got a lot of support systems, support divisions for students. Just, you know, make use of it. Quite often with the F7s, you know, it's and I mean, I understand it, and I'm sure you will also understand it.
Yes.
Students would say, I was too proud to ask for help. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear that also.
Yes.
You know, that jacket, I wear that also.
Yes.
Don't be. This is your future. Just, you know, take off that proud jacket and just ask for help. And what you also do, if you've been helped and if you make a success, pay it forward.
True. That's true indeed. Well, Prof, that has been a fruitful conversation, to be quite honest. Is there anything else that you wish to add to our conversation? Perhaps a question that I did not ask?
I think I'm good. Just to, you know, a shout out to the University of Johannesburg, such a great place to work.
Yes.
To you guys, UJTV, doing absolutely wonderful. And then to our students. UJ has got the most fantastic students in South Africa. So proud to be part of UJ.
Wow. In South Africa, that's big. We are big. We are the University of Johannesburg. Well, there you've had it, guys. This was the conversation that we had with Prof Bettine. It was really interesting, and you should have a watch. Thank you so much. My name is Bongani Mncube. Hope you did tune in, and you will see me on the next episode.
The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.